It's great having a class where every car is exactly the same.
One of the things about this particular class is that there's no room for error. The minute you make a mistake in this car, you're gone, you've lost it. To me, that's real racing, and it's not about checkbooks, it's about the ability. And some of the young guys in this class, it's fantastic. I love the fact that this class has been developed for Toyota to bring young New Zealand drivers through into the next best thing.
Teretonga turn 1. If you get it wrong, you're in the wall.
At Teretonga, you have to be brave. Sometimes you just have to throw it into the corner.
And it's all about having bloody big balls through turn 1.
A track that certainly favours the brave, but it doesn't scare me.
Based on the Toyota 86 Sports Saloon, these cars run race-spec shocks, big brakes, Motec dash and Michelin race legs, along with the normal safety equipment.
Hi and welcome to the Toyota 86 Championship. I'm Sam McNeil. This week we've travelled about as far south as possible in New Zealand to Invercargill. I'm standing on Already Beach, where Burt Munro tuned his legendary Indian Streamliner. Out there, Antarctica. Over there, Teretonga Park, home to round 4 of the Toyota 86 Championship. The weather this weekend's going to be a challenge, but that's Invercargill for you. Let's go to the highlights from round 3 at Christchurch with Jonathan Green.
Reid Harker put the pressure on championship leader Ryan Yardley with an emphatic win in race 1 ahead of Michael Scott and Yardley a close third. Lockwood took race 2 with Yardley just behind, and in race 3 though it was Reid Harker who claimed the weekend by taking yet another emphatic win. Christchurch weekend then helping Reid Harker to move to just 8 points behind Ryan Yardley, who leads with 5.49. Then it's Matt Lockwood third. Michael Scott moves up to 4th place ahead of Jack Milligan in 5th.
Hi, I'm Ryan Yardley, Kiwit's number 18 driver. The track here at Teretonga can be quite challenging. At the end of the front straight is the sweeper, one of the hardest corners on the track. Next up is turn 2 and 3, which provide great passing opportunities. At the back of the circuit, the brickyard. It's all about having clean lines to get the best entry to the final corner, which sets you up for the long front straight again.
Thanks, Ryan. We've now got 2 qualifying sessions to set the grid for race 1 and race 3. Let's go and see how they did.
A nail-bitingly close qualifying 1 saw Reid Harker pip his arch-rival Ryan Yardley to the pole with a 107.2, just 0.089 ahead of the Christchurch man Michael Scott third. In qualifying 2, it was Ryan Yardley who improved his time, a 107.166 to take the pole, ahead of Michael Scott in 2nd, with Reid Harker this time in 3rd. But on the balance of play, it's Ryan Yardley who has 2 front-row starts here at Teretonga. Well, Ryan, congratulations. 2 good qualifying sessions, right at the front row where you need to be.
Yeah, exactly. You know, we struggled a little bit last weekend in qualifying, but came here, we had good pace yesterday in practice, and yeah, converted into qualifying is good. So I had P2 for the first one, and then pole for tomorrow afternoon's race.
Got to finally ask you about sitting in the Toyota Racing Series car. How was that? You sat in Habsburg's car. Is that something you want to do?
Yeah, you know, it was pretty cool. Couldn't reach the pedals, but you know, they're a cool car, and it's awesome to follow them around New Zealand and watch them. And you know, I'd love to have a drive one and maybe race one day.
Well, Reid, if we discovered that there's not a lot of overtaking here, so qualifying is really important. You've got to be happy with that.
Yeah, very happy. As you say, qualifying is very important. We got a good clear run in the first session, which was good. Managed to put some consistent laps in and bank the fastest time. And then in the second session, caught up in a little bit of traffic, but nonetheless, third, happy.
Is there any particular parts of the track that you're trying to improve on or know that you can be quicker at?
Turn 1, I think you can always improve. It's quite a fast and committed corner, so you just got to keep pushing and finding that limit. So maybe a little bit there. Coming off the last corner as well, trying to get a good run onto the straight. Those are probably the two main areas.
Well, Michael, never a dull moment with you. Tell me about your qualifying sessions.
Yeah, so that was a bit of a hair-raising one, especially in the second qualifying session. We set a good time, and then I came in really hot into turn 1, lost the rear end and sort of slid sideways across the gravel trap, and just before it hit the side of the tyre barrier, it gripped up and carried on around the grass. But that sort of meant once we got back, the car was shaking as there was all this dirt and that in the tyres. So the guys did a good job at quickly getting all the dirt out, and then we're back out again. But unfortunately we couldn't set a faster time, and Ryan ended up pipping us for a pole just at the end there.
While he's a rookie to the series, Connor Adam brings a wealth of knowledge about cars, coming off the spanners working for International Motorsport to behind the wheel in the Toyota 86 Championship.
Yeah, I feel as a driver it's easier to drive the car if you understand how it works as well, and that's helped me quite a few times. You know, you can, when you turn into a corner, you sort of know what the suspension's doing, and you just understand the physics of the car a bit better than what you would if you didn't work on your own car, which would I do at work. And I've been racing karts for 10 years previously, and shifter karts for the last 3 years, and we ended up second in the national series for that, and then we got asked to join the Elite Motorsport Academy about May last year, and then we decided to run 86 because we got offered the drive from International Motorsport, which was such a good opportunity, and we couldn't pass it up, and we're really enjoying it. The championship this year is really competitive. It's a whole nother level compared to what I've been in karting, and like just in qualifying now, whole fields are second apart, and there was nothing close to that in kart racing, so that's something that's really cool about the championship, I think, and the tracks are amazing. This season I want to probably be top 3 in the rookie championship, or even win it if we can get the last few rounds real good. After that I'll probably do another season of 86, and then hopefully on to Porsches or GT racing if we can get the right opportunity at the right time.
Coming up, all the action from round 4 of the Toyota 86 series as race 1 gets underway.
It's time for race 1. Can Reid Harker convert pole position into a race win? Let's go to Jonathan Green for all the action.
The grid then for race 1 sees Reid Harker in pole position, then Ryan Yardley alongside, then it's Michael Scott and Jack Milligan on row 2. Matt Lockwood lines up alongside Jacob Smith on the next row, and then it's Andy Knight, the former TRS champion, alongside him the youngster Brodie McConkey for Albany Toyota. Then it's John Penny and Jaden Ransley, Miles Cockram in the number 11, and in the 96 it's Mike Lightfoot. And at the back, Tom Stokes. Alongside him is Connor Adam for International Motorsport. Here we go then, race 1 in cool and dry conditions. Off the line they go. Good start from Ryan Yardley. And on board now already with Matt Lockwood, trying to jostle for position. Tries to get alongside Milligan, but doesn't succeed. And they are barging into the loop for the first time. Milligan and Michael Scott coming together. And Matt Lockwood looking for an inside chance on Milligan. They're side by side as they head towards Castrol and down towards the S's for the first time. Reid Harker leads the race from Ryan Yardley. Everybody cleanly through the first few corners. Ransley at the back, Reid Harker at the front. An important weekend for Reid Harker. Every point counts against Ryan Yardley with a reverse grid race 2 as we go on board with the guest driver Andy Knight, former Grand Prix winner and of course a champion of the Toyota Racing Series, but he hasn't been in a race situation for a few years, and so he's kind of getting himself back up to speed, Andy Knight. He still looks pretty sharp though, and look at this, side by side, the two championship contenders. Harker on the left-hand side, Yardley's got the inside line as they cross the line, and Yardley's got the advantage for now. Here comes Ryan Yardley to challenge for the lead. Closing him down though. Michael Scott's in on the action. He goes right behind Reid Harker as they go into the southern loop. Side by side, great stuff. Yardley just gets it. And that was very brave indeed. Harker had to step back through fear of going off, possibly, at the exit of the loop. But everybody safely through. The Northland Toyota man, third at the moment. Just behind him is the Kervets car of number 17, chasing the Rookie Cup. That, of course, Jack Milligan from Christchurch. Fourth place at the moment, there he is. Can he hold on to that position or maybe even challenge Michael Scott here in this first race? He's got Lockwood behind him. Then comes the number 27, that's Jacob Smith, and Andy Knight is just behind him. Out of the elbow they come then. Ryan Yardley trying to extend that lead. Michael Scott trying to get alongside Reid Harker, and he's done a good job. Got good drive out of the elbow, and that's the key corner here down this long 800-metre straight. All identical cars, remember. Andy Knight trying to get alongside John Penny. Penny, though, breaks as late as he dare into the southern loop and holds that position. Nicely done by the former V8 man. And this is going to be a good battle between these two, I'm sure, as the race continues. Brodie McConkey in the Castrol car just behind as he goes through Castrol corner. Field starting to spread out now as they head through the S's. And Ryan Yardley building on that lead at the front. Perfect conditions for racing. It rained during practice, and you can never count out rain throughout the weekend here in Invercargill. They've hardly had a summer down here. It's rained a lot, and we're expecting more as the weekend continues. Right now, though, Ryan Yardley trying to increase that lead. Reid Harker done a good job of narrowing the gap at the front. So Ryan Yardley faces a big weekend of 3 races too. The youngster for Care Vets, rookie champion last year, and now Michael Scott lines himself up to take on the number 4, Reid Harker. Here we are on board with the number 5, Michael Scott from Christchurch. He looks to the outside, good defensive work though by Reid Harker, just breaks and holds the line. And the thing about the Southern Loop is it tries to encourage you to go to the outside, but there really isn't a line to overtake all the way around the outside, and eventually you have to slot back in to the racing line. If you can make it stick before you turn in, or as you turn in, then maybe there's an overtake. Lockwood all over the back of Milligan, and likewise Smith all over the back of him. So very close racing. The placemaker's man in a sandwich here, looking forward and keeping an eye on his mirrors too. Matt Lockwood, winner at Taupo, of course. And moving up the board, Matt Lockwood. And now looks to the inside at the elbow, can't do it there. And back onto the straight. Ooh, somebody going wide, that's Tom Stokes going off at the elbow. And the number 6 gathers it all together. But as you can see, drops right to the back now. So work to do for Tom Stokes. Meanwhile, this battle continues. Now Jacob Smith in the number 27 car, lining himself up for a chance to overtake perhaps Matt Lockwood as they come out of the loop and down towards Castrol again. Just behind them, John Penny, a few lengths back, then Mike Lightfoot, and look at this, McConkey. And then for a moment, Miles Cockram on the grass as Andy Knight comes alongside him. This is a great battle to go on board with the Lighting Plus man, Andy Knight, the guest driver here. And Miles Cockram, for a moment there, was on the grass. And using every bit of the track, if not more. Youngster Miles Cockram learning his way in the 86, and a very experienced Andy Knight. Then Ransley behind him. And the Motor Oils man under pressure for sure. Back with Reid Harker, talking of pressure, Michael Scott still all over the back of the number 4. And this is playing into the hands of Ryan Yardley, because with every lap, Yardley is building that lead. He crosses the line now, and the gap about 3 seconds to Reid Harker. Michael Scott crossing the line now, and the black flag. A black flag is out, and who is that for, I wonder? And it could be one of the leaders. And it is! It's Reid Harker. A drive-through penalty for Reid Harker. And we're hearing it's because of a practice start. Matt Lockwood on board with him now as he tries up the inside of Milligan. Milligan turning in on his line and hits Lockwood. Lockwood, and then gets hit behind, and Lockwood in trouble. Well, he made an attempt on overtaking Jack Milligan. Milligan was on his line, and as you can see, Lockwood in all sorts of trouble and right at the back now. And in fact, he just rejoins. Here's another look at it. He looks to the inside of Milligan. Milligan turns, but didn't change his line, to be fair, as they headed towards the S's. So it was a bit of an audacious maneuver, and then Smith gathers him as well. And the placemaker's man has lost his place. Here's another replay. Oh, see it from Jacob Smith, and he can't go anywhere. Oh, and then just touches the side and continues to spin. Another Interaction this time, Mike Lightfoot and McConkey coming together. Well, here is why, yes, there was a break of traction there for the number 4, and that's what he's been given a drive-through for. So Reid Harker, that is absolute disaster for the man chasing the title with Ryan Yardley, who is marching on to victory here in race 1. So this race has turned on its head in a matter of moments. Lightfoot still ahead of McConkey, but for how long? Cochrane's involved now. Knight's just behind. Meanwhile, Penny is all over Milligan, who of course was involved in that incident and has now dropped back. So plenty of drama from the first race here at Teretonga, as we expected. They've got a long break after this race weekend, so they want to make it count. Their next round at Manfield in mid-Feb, and John Penny looking to get some good points out of this one as we go on board with Miles Cochrane. He's still in this battle with McConkey ahead of him and Lightfoot just ahead of him in the green and black. The Castrol car sandwiched in between at the moment. Miles Cochrane, the youngster who competed in the 86 championship last year for a few of the rounds, and another youngster coming up from Christchurch, making his way through 86. But the ambition of so many of these youngsters now involved in the series is to use the 86 as a launch pad, perhaps to single-seaters and TRS, or possibly into GTs after that. Oh, and McConkey goes very wide indeed. One wheel on the dirt and into the elbow for the last time. Penny turns around Milligan. Oh, the Carevet's car is turned around. Meanwhile, the other one is going to win the race with Ryan Yardley. The championship leader extends that lead at the front. A dramatic end to race 1 as we go on board with Brodie McConkey, who does survive and cross the line, but he loses out. Mike Lightfoot crosses the line ahead of Cochrane. And what a finish, a close finish at the back as well. So well done to Ryan Yardley. He wins yet again in the 2017 championship. Yardley then with victory. Almost 2 seconds ahead of Michael Scott, then Jacob Smith on the podium, Lightfoot 4th and Cochrane 5th.
I'm stoked to get a win finally this season. I've had I think 6 seconds this year, but no, it's great to get a win finally.
Could prove to be a big weekend because you've got a good position for the next race as well, and who knows what will happen in race 2. Yeah,
exactly. So tomorrow afternoon we've got a starting off pole, and Mo Jordan can always spice things up, but I've got a good starting position tomorrow, so it should be a good weekend.
You look pretty strong coming down the straight into the first corner. That's where it seemed that you could really do some catching.
Yeah, this track, you got to get out of that final corner, seeing that it's such a long straight, and then it's just full commitment in turn 1. So that's always important.
Well, Jacob, a busy race. You're on the podium, but there's a lot of drama going on.
Yeah, definitely. It was pretty tough out there. A lot of action going left, right, centre. So luckily managed to stay out of most of it, but managed to drive a good race, clean race. And
what happened? You got some damage.
Matt Lockwood spun out in front of me. I had nowhere to go, so took a little bit of damage on that left front, but lost my ABS. Managed to drive through the rest of the race and finish 3rd.
Coming up, all the action from race 2 and 3 as conditions begin to deteriorate here in Invercargill. Join us after the break.
Welcome back to the Toyota 86 Championship. Chances are we're going to have a wet race today, so what do the teams do to prepare the cars for a race? Obviously the Michelin slick comes off, the Michelin wet goes on, but what else do they have up their sleeve to maximise the setup? While the teams are limited with what they can do, one of the things that can be adjusted is the suspension, with 12 points of adjustment from hard to soft. Generally in the wet, the teams will go soft. Next up, sway bars front and rear. 2 points of adjustment in the front, 3 points of adjustment in the rear, from hard to soft. Again, the teams will be looking to go soft. After that, you've got alignments, ride height and cambers. But the Michelin wet tyre is so good that generally the teams will stick to the suspension and the sway bars. After that, it's up to the driver. After a dry race 1, the skies have opened up for race 2. Let's go to Jonathan Green for the grid.
Reverse grid for race 2 sees Jaden Ransley in pole with Jack Milligan alongside him. And then behind them, it's Andy Knight and Miles Cochrane. Row 3, it's Mike Lightfoot in the number 96, and alongside him, 27, Jacob Smith. Then it's Michael Scott and Ryan Yardley, the winner of the first race. Then it's Brodie McConkey, Tom Stokes, Matt Lockwood starts alongside Connor Adam of International Motorsport. Little further back, it's Reid Harker and John Penny at the back. Reid Harker, after that drive-through, has a lot of work to do from the back. So this is going to be interesting. Damp conditions on track as Ransley gets away well. Milligan tries to follow him. And the fast guys, remember, are in the midfield and at the back, and we expect them to come through. How long can Jaden Ransley, the youngster, last? Lightfoot gets a good start in third position, and slotting into second is Andy Knight. Good clean start then. Conditions aren't so bad. There is a dry line, but offline it's very wet indeed. Milligan going very wide in fourth position, just behind Lightfoot. Jacob Smith behind him. Miles Cockram got away well. A lot of work to do then for Reid Harker. As Andy Knight already putting pressure on Ransley, who got away really well from the line. Here comes the number 99. And for a moment there, I thought he was going to have a lunge. Tom Stokes and Matt Lockwood side by side. On board with Brodie McConkey, coming down to the elbow for the first time. And a lot of traffic. Michael Scott in front of him. Just misses out on trying to get alongside Michael Scott as they head down the straight. Ransley still leading from Knight. Then it's Jack Milligan looking for his first victory. Miles Cockram and Mike Lightfoot side by side. Buzz trying to get round. The wipers starting to go on. Will the rain start to fall? Oh, Lightfoot goes very wide at turn one. He just couldn't turn in. Oh no! And he's flipped it. Lightfoot. And Tom Stokes has gone off as well. And no surprise then that the Lexus safety car is out at the start of race 2. And as we go on board with Lightfoot, yeah, it just goes too wide at the southern loop. No grip out there. And Buzz goes to infinity and beyond. Out of the race then goes Lightfoot. A dramatic crash indeed, and Tom Stokes was to follow him. Luckily for Tom, he avoids a similar incident, but you see here, as we go on board with Stokes, luckily avoids the incident with Lightfoot, and the safety car will gather them all together, and Ransley will once again lead the restart. Conditions not getting any better out there. Knight still second place. Then it's Milligan, and Miles Cockram's got a great opportunity to take advantage here. On board with Ryan Yardley, the championship leader at the restart. He's got Michael Scott in front of him. Ransley leads, but you can see from the cameras that the conditions are getting worse as Milligan tries to have a go on the outside. He's got to be careful. There's no grip out there. As we go on board with Lockwood now, he's got McConkey in front of him. And young Brodie McConkey not getting any room from John Penny. And the 23 Castrol car slots in behind John Penny. And Lockwood comes alongside. He's got to be careful, Matt Lockwood. And he's side by side, and Ransley under pressure again from Knight. He's got the wipers on, and through goes Andy Knight. Nice and clean move. Meanwhile, Milligan's under pressure in third from Jacob Smith, who goes onto the dirt for a moment. Boy, this is close racing. Into the elbow one more time. Ransley loses 2 places. Knight and Milligan through, and possibly Smith. So Ransley's gone from first to fourth in a matter of corners. He lost it at the Brickyard, and they all swooped at the elbow. But the conditions, as you can see from the cameras here on top of the main grandstand, rain starting to pour down as Milligan goes round the outside of Andy Knight, and that's a brave manoeuvre by Milligan, but he's made it stick. Jack Milligan overtakes Andy Knight. And they're still side by side because Knight is keeping his foot in. And as you can see, Jack Milligan has to go onto the dirt for a second, but finally, as they come to the S's, he's made it stick. And meanwhile, Smith bangs into Knight. There's drama at every corner. Fantastic stuff. Smith straightens it all up, but does get past Knight. Bold overtaking manoeuvre by the Hamilton Asphalt's man. And Knight's not done yet. The Lighting Plus man wants to have another crack as Ransley holds on to 4. The whole field now gathering up behind. This is a very close race now because of the weather and the reverse grid. But out front, there's a chance now for Jack Milligan to claim his first win for Kervets. Milligan, of course, pushing for the Rookie Cup honours, and this would be a real step in that direction. His teammate, of course, winning it last year and now leading the overall championship. Reed Harker trying to push his way through and make up some important points. And every place that Reed Harker can make up in this race as he comes alongside McConkey outside of the loop is going to be an important point up against Ryan Yardley. Harker, of course, with that drive-through penalty last time for the practice start. Having to start right at the back of race 2. But he couldn't get past McConkey then. Matt Lockwood just in front of the Albany Toyota man. And Lockwood's done well to side his way through the field as well. As we go back with Michael Scott, who's still pushing and putting pressure on the number 11 of Miles Cockram. And at the elbow, he gets through. That's a classic overtake here at Teretonga. Nicely done by the Christchurch man. And onto the main straight. And he'll now go in pursuit of 4th place, Jaden Ransley. Crosses the line now, this long, long straight of over 800 metres. Then to the very fast Southern Loop. Full commitment into here, especially in these conditions. Scott diving in. Behind him, Ryan Yardley, and Scott now starting to get into a position where he could challenge for the overall title. Still a couple of rounds after this, and a lot more racing to come from this championship, which began back in November. Oh, and a touch there from Ryan Yardley on Scott. Scott having to defend the position. And you can see how hard Michael Scott's having to work the car. Ryan Yardley all over the back of him. Then it's Lockwood, McConkey and Cockram side by side, but McConkey's got the better of him and needs to. Brodie McConkey desperate to get points in the Rookie Cup as well. Into the elbow one more time. And again, Yardley has a little nibble at the back end of the Scott car, but can't get through. And Michael Scott defending well here. Meanwhile, at the front, Jack Milligan headed to victory. If he can hold it all together, Lockwood comes alongside Yardley now. And this will be an interesting battle. Ooh, Lockwood's got to be careful as we go on board and watch it from Brodie McConkey's view. And sure enough, effectively, Lockwood gets hung out to dry here in the wet because he was right on the slippy part of the Southern Loop and just had to slow down the pace and go back into position, and luckily he holds it all together. Meanwhile, Andy Knight still ahead of Ransley, but can't make any more inroads on the leaders. This is an intriguing midfield battle for sure. Michael Scott holding off Ryan Yardley, and as those two battle, it's given a chance for Matt Lockwood and Brodie McConkey to come and get involved in that battle. Meanwhile, Milligan holding off Smith. Smith wants this just as bad as the Kervets, Milligan does. But onto the main straight one more time. Jack Milligan with the wipers on, heading down the main straight here at Teretonga in tough conditions, but takes the checkered flag ahead of Smith. Andy Knight will take 3rd position. Good hard-fought race by Andy Knight as he makes the podium. But that is Jack Milligan's first win in the Toyota 86 Series, and it couldn't come at a better time. Milligan then with victory over Jacob Smith in 2nd place, then Andy Knight 3rd, Jaden Ransley 4th, and Michael Scott rounds out the top 5. Well, Jack, congratulations. What a race. Tell me and take me through it.
Yeah, obviously we had a terrible start. Obviously changing conditions, and just worked my way, to the front, and just stayed there and put my head down.
Going to say, talking of putting your head down, I mean, it's been, a controversial weekend, to say the least, involving yourself with an accident yesterday. But you've kept your head, and I think that's the important thing as a racing driver, that you were able to kind of put that aside and race.
Yep, you just got to keep moving forward, and I just wanted to focus on the race today, and today's a different day, and just wrap, the Keith and the boys at CareVets, and I want to thank the boys for all their help. It's magical.
Well, Jacob, congratulations. Tell me about your race, because you did get the points you wanted from that second place.
Yeah, definitely. Managed to get a good start and work my way up through the field. Try to hold on to Jack at the front there. Just didn't quite have enough to catch him in those last few laps, but yeah, good result.
Say good points and one more race to go.
Yeah, good points for our championship, so hopefully we can climb up a bit further in the championship points. Yeah, one race to go, so let's see how it goes.
Well, Andy, congratulations, third place, and I think you're starting to like this 86.
Yeah, no, it's a bit different to what I've done in the past, but after last weekend and this weekend, we're sort of getting the hang of it, and hopefully have another week on the Savo so we can have another go at it and try and move up one more.
Coming up, more panel banging and slip sliding from the feature race of the Toyota 86 Series from Teretonga.
Brodie McConkey comes to the series this year as a rookie, but with him comes the iconic Castrol colours.
Been around it ever since the age of 3 with Dad, been involved in it, and I think it's just more of a rush than any other sport. I mean, there's no other sport that comes close to it. It's not really a physical sport, it's more of a mentally fit sport, so that's what I like about it. I never did karting. All I did was just going to the track watching Dad, and then when I was about 14 we got a drive in a Formula First, and that was my first full year in the series, and I finished 7th, and then we stuck for that for another 2 years, and we ended up finishing 3NZ last year. Formula First was a really challenging championship because it's basically a game of chess with all the drafting. It's also a good class because everyone there's like a family, so it's a good environment to be around. When I first drove in 86, I didn't find it hard to find where the car had grip and where it didn't, but it's finding that last half a second where it really comes down to changing your driving style and getting that last bit out of the car. And the data is a very big thing to look into because that's where you're going to get those last tenths. The championship's been really good so far. I mean, we're at the halfway point now, and I think we're slowly pulling in Jack, who's leading the rookie championship. So that's the main goal, to just keep finishing in front of him and hopefully get on top.
The CareVet cars have taken race 1 and 2. Can they go for a third? Let's go to Jonathan Green for all the action in race 3.
15-lap race, and it's Ryan Yardley who starts pole position, and alongside him, Michael Scott. Then it's Reid Harker and Matt Lockwood for placemakers. And then it's Andy Knight in the guest car with Jacob Smith. Knight getting a podium last time out, then Miles Cockram and John Penny. A little further back, it's Jack Milligan with some work to do, but he's got Brodie McConkey alongside him. That should be a good battle. And then Mike Lightfoot and Tom Stokes in the number 6 Resin Automotive car. Then it's Connor Adam and Jaden Ramsey at the back, having started pole from race 2. Here we go then. Atrocious conditions and getting worse. Out go the lights. Away we go. Good start from Michael Scott. And Scott's away for sure. Ryan Yardley did not get a good start. As you can see, conditions very, very tough indeed. And that's a great start from Matt Lockwood. He's already up to 2nd place. Penny going around the outside. He's got to be careful there. And so too Jack Milligan. And this really is very tough indeed. Vision almost impossible. Look at the view from Mike Lightfoot. Can't see anything. And the Neil Allport entry will have to use all his experience as he almost goes sideways. Oh, he aquaplaned almost then and somehow kept control, but Lightfoot needed to make sure he had a Lightfoot then, because if he put his foot any further down, he'd have gone right round, and that would have been game over yet again for Buzz. Reid Harker on the outside. McConkey on board with him now, down towards the final corner. Just barely seeing the brakes come on. And this is going to be an endurance race for the Toyota 86 boys. Down the main straight, the only man with a clear view is the leader, Michael Scott. He crosses the line now. John Penny got away well, And Reid Harker has got to get on level terms with Ryan Yardley. This is a critical race. They've got a big break now before Manfield. Oh no! And round goes Lockwood. Lockwood spinning, pirouetting out of race 3 at the Southern Loop. And so the first victim of these terrible conditions is Matt Lockwood. Scott continues at the front, Yardley right behind him. And Reid Harker is in his own battle. He's got Penny in front of him, McConkey's there, banging panels already. Like I said, this is a massive race for the number 4 just in front of Brodie McConkey, because Reid Harker has to keep scoring against Ryan Yardley if he's going to challenge him. McConkey, on the other hand, is out for the Rookie Cup, and you can tell he means business. Great start as the safety car comes out, and they'll try to clear away Matt Lockwood's car and get it out of harm's way. Here's what happened to Lockwood. Yeah, again, it's that puddle at turn 1. You hear him shouting in frustration at that accident, because he just aquaplaned off and he was really just a passenger at that point. And that is a classic off at the Southern Loop at Teretonga. Matt Lockwood has paid the price. No points from race 3. And a man who had been challenging for a top 3 in the championship has got more work to do next time out at Manfield. Here we go then, the restart. Yardley in second place will try to put the pressure on Michael Scott. Scott crosses the line now. Penny's up to 3rd place. Harker's still there, but he needs to get ahead of John Penny. Into the first corner they go. Board with Mike Lightfoot, and again he gets sideways and he somehow saves it. But he loses a place to Milligan and Ransley. And Mike Lightfoot, boy, has he had some moments. But, he saves that again. But again, I reiterate, the conditions, it's like being on roller skates on an ice rink out there. Absolutely no grip, and the Michelin tyres are very grippy, but conditions are such here in Teretonga that there really isn't a lot of grip out there. And if you get heavy-footed, it really is all over. Smith going high and wide. Good battle here, as now Michael Scott under big pressure here from Ryan Yardley. And the Cairvets man trying to extend his lead now as we go on board with his closest challenger, Reid Harker, as he comes down the main straight. In front of him on the outside is Jacob Smith, just ahead of John Penny, as Harker tucks himself up right behind John Penny going into the Southern Loop. Almost touched the back of him then. He's going to try, if he can, to go through with Penny. Penny's got the inside line, and Smith being hung out on the outside, and that is precarious for sure. Penny's going to try and overtake Smith. Can he do it? They come through Castrol together. And Reid Harker fancies his way through too, and yes, he does. So Penny loses out. Having challenged Jacob Smith for a moment, he's lost out now to Reid Harker. Well, we always knew this was going to be a dramatic race, and it's an pivotal race too for the championship. Over the halfway point now, and we are at the business end between Ryan Yardley and Reid Harker. And in the Rookie Cup, Brodie McConkey trying to make some inroads on Jack Milligan, who's now won his first race and has certainly got the confidence to race hard now, despite these conditions. And to be fair, everyone in the field doing a very, very good job of doing this kind of pace in these conditions. Down the main straight they come, a line astern. And don't count out Michael Scott for the championship. He may have changed teams and not had the start to the year that he wanted, but he's coming strong now at just the right time. Smith on the inside of Yardley. Nicely done. So Smith up to 2nd place now. And this is really good by the lanky figure of the youngster, Jacob Smith. Got ahead of Yardley there, and now Reid Harker sees the target. That is the Cairvets car of his championship contender and nemesis all season long, as we go back with Smith now. Vying for the lead of the race even now with Michael Scott. And this would be a special win for Jacob Smith if he could pull it off. Question is, where do you take the risk and go for the overtake? Well, he's thinking about it at the elbow. That's an obvious place, and that was a little too close for comfort. I think they touched for a moment there, and that has lost him some space, and Ryan Yardley says thank you very much and comes through. Smith goes from second to possibly fourth because Harker's gone with Yardley, and he has. Smith drops down to fourth now. As they cross the line, Michael Scott still holding off a group of 4 cars in total into the southern loop. Yardley looking to the inside, but he's not going to make it this time. And this is cracking racing here from Teretonga. Both the track and the conditions and the skill of the drivers playing into what has been a great weekend of racing. As we go back on board with Reid Harker in the number 4 Accent Motorsport car. Harker now in 3rd place, and it's Yardley the target. Now he wants to get by Yardley, but he doesn't need to take him or Yardley out because it's Yardley that has the advantage. What Harker needs to remember is he needs to score points, and yes, he wants to overtake Yardley, but he can't risk going out of this race. And Smith has already shown that he can lead this race. Ransley's out. The 53 Harcourt's car will bring out the safety yet again in these atrocious conditions. And the drivers can catch a breath for a moment. Here's a look at Ransley going out. Again, the southern loop captures another car into the jaws of that gravel trap. Ransley just getting a little too wide there. And again, aquaplaning out of this race. So Scott will have to build again. He's got Yardley and Reid Harker. Opportunity here for Reid. Great opportunity for Michael Scott for big points. But can he hold off the chasing pack? Here we go. Scott will try and make himself as wide as he possibly can. He'll hold the racing line, then jink to the inside to make sure he makes it through the southern loop, and he's got to defend from Yardley, who looks up the inside of Michael Scott. Scott's view here from the lead, and you can see how wet and the puddle's forming, and he goes wide. He's got to be careful. That's the number 5, and Yardley's got through. He left too much room there, did Michael Scott, and he knew that would be the case if he wasn't careful, and he has lost out to Ryan Yardley. Great opportunism, though, by the youngster, and the Care-Vets man leads again. What a weekend it's turning out for Ryan Yardley. Back with Jacob Smith. He's got Reid Harker in his sights now. And Harker isn't done just yet either. Whoa, what a tap there on Michael Scott by Reid Harker, and they side by side. Through goes Smith as well. So Michael Scott has gone from hero to zero in a matter of seconds. Yardley pulling away at the front. Here comes McConkey, and the number 23 up the inside of the Castrol car at the elbow. He elbows Reid Harker out the way. We already got past Smith. What a race this has turned out to be for race 3. But Ryan Yardley stands tall and will extend his lead in the championship if he stays where he is. Down towards the southern loop again. Harker under pressure from now. Brodie McConkey. And Yardley, as you can see, is built on that lead. It's now a battle for 2nd and 3rd. Because Yardley, if he keeps it all together, is going to win this race. John Penny still in the hunt for a possible top 6 finish. Yardley goes through. Reid Harker has to finish 2nd place to keep this championship going and keep his eye on the prize of Ryan Yardley. And the number 18 Care-Vets man has come through what has been an astonishing weekend, both weather-wise and from racing point of view. And Penny now attacks Michael Scott. Oh, Scott again in the wars. Well, he has made himself a target and now losing out. Miles Cockram gets past John Penny. More shenanigans to come then. Up to the elbow. Scott just hanging on. He wants to finish this race and get a warm shower, I'm sure. Meanwhile, Ryan Yardley comes across the line again. Reid Harker now extending his position as the chasing pack go down that main straight one more time. Good overtake from Miles Cockram then to get ahead of John Penny. But he's gone wide as Cockram, and Penny tries to get alongside as they exit the loop together down towards Castrol. Penny trying everything in his arsenal to get past, and he just about does it. Oh, has he? The next is a right-hander. They're side by side. This is great racing by the youngster Miles Cockram. The far more experienced John Penny has done this all before, and Miles is just learning his way. And that's good to see. The experience and the youth racing hard together like that. But Penny wins the day. Just behind him is Andy Knight. He too with bags of experience. Great balance in this series of youth and experience. But it's going to be the youngster, Ryan Yardley, coming out of the elbow one more time. Conditions not getting any better for young Ryan Yardley, but he's put on a great display of racing. And takes the checkered flag, finally. A brilliant run by Ryan Yardley to extend his lead in the Toyota 86 Championship of 2017. A cracking race 3, and here are the results. Ryan Yardley with the win over Brodie McConkey. Great result for him in his rookie chase. Jacob Smith third, Michael Scott fourth, and John Penny rounds out the top 5.
You've got that lead and you've kept it and you've done it in tough circumstances.
Yeah, for sure. You know, coming into this weekend, I knew it was a pretty important one, so to grab a couple of wins is awesome, and get some more points and build on that lead. So important weekend, and now got a bit of a break from Anfield, but I can't wait to get back out there.
It was tough conditions, but you seem to revel in it. I mean, is it something you're used to, racing in the wet?
In the past, I like racing in the rain. We found a few spots on the track that we found were off limits pretty far, so we just stayed away from there, and then we seemed to be all right.
Well, Jacob, tough conditions, but a great run by you, and you were putting pressure on Brodie all the way to the end.
Yeah, definitely. It was a really good race for me. I hit a lot of pace. Unfortunately, I didn't quite get the podium position I was looking for, but hey, it's all learning, and we'll go out there next time and do better.
How hard is it to run these cars in the wet? You can't get a lot of grip, and I suppose you can't make a lot of mistakes.
Yeah, it's very, very hard. Obviously, in that race, it was a big train of us pretty much the whole race. So if someone makes a mistake, someone else is going to take your spot. So yeah, it's a lot of consistency and making the most of your opportunities.
So with 4 rounds gone, Ryan Yardley extends his lead to 75 points over Reid Harker, who is 38 points ahead of Michael Scott, who now moves to 3rd place overall with Jack Milligan 4th.
So that wraps up a wet and windy weekend at Teretonga Park. We now take a 2-week break and join the Toyota Racing Series for the New Zealand Grand Prix in Manfield. We'll see you then.